Welcome to another video from me at Scott's Crazy Builds. It's about 32 degrees in the garage and I'm sweating, but I need to give you an update because I last posted about the jet kart 2 months ago. The Afterburner was working, but there's been a shed load of work going on, so I'll give you the rundown. Now, it's all well and good getting the actual Afterburner to work. All I was trying to do before, but the next question that everyone asks is how much thrust does it make? So I had to try and measure the thrust for myself to be able to tune the engine and really see what works and what doesn't and get the most out of it. So I adapted a set of Salter bathroom scales off Amazon as my measurement device, and I've been doing a load of different tests without the Afterburner and with the Afterburner. Now, the kart can make about 70 to 80 kilograms of thrust without the Afterburner, and it can make over 100 kilograms of thrust with the Afterburner. So if I was to point the kart vertically, it would take off and lift its own weight like a rocket, which is pretty reasonable. There's been a load of other stuff going on that's needed to sort of characterise what's going on inside the engine. So one of the first modifications is to install a load of new instrumentation. So I've got a load of new gauges here, fuel pressure, pressure at the turbine outlet, boost pressure. The next thing to do was to completely rewire the steering wheel. So I've got a whole new switch set up on here, all nicely tied in at the back because it was a bit tight on the wiring previously. So now it's all nicely constrained and basically it's good for some proper running. Got a new gauge for turbine outlet temperature, and I've added this kill switch. Well, it was over here. It's now between my legs where I can actually get to it. And I've also added, if I turn the car on, a GPS speedometer ready for running. The next rather obvious modification is that I've got a full width rear axle now. I've got rid of the old one. I want the stability from a wider axle, and I've got 6-inch superkart wheels and tyres here, brand new slicks. They're good for about 150 miles an hour, so pretty happy there, and it's looking rather nice on those. So yeah, CRG rear axle, fresh bearings. I've got ceramic rear axle bearings in here. I've got also a massive upgrade to the front axle. So I've fitted a front brake kit, which is from an OTK kart. Did need a bit of modification to get it to go, but vented front discs, and I've now got this sort of brake pull for the front brakes here, which I can reach if I need it. So I've still got my rear brake for the sort of main braking, but if that was to have a problem, I've now got the insurance policy of some lovely front brakes. So as well as actually fitting the brakes, obviously I've given them a bit of a birthday, so I've cleaned up all the discs. As well as fitting, as I said, new bearings to every single axle. So yeah, we're looking pretty good here. But the other problem is that the kart has been a little bit tricky to start, and I've now got an automated start ramp, so on the fueling, so I can literally set the idle I want and it'll just ramp that in as I ramp the air in. So I can give you a little demo. If I kick off the oil pump, this is where, oh yeah, got new radiator fans. The oil's getting pretty hot, so I've got a lovely blast now from those. And here I can set the idle fueling. As well as that, I've now got a accelerator pedal which is linked to the ECU, and I can literally throttle it up on there as I will need to do so. The last modification is to the afterburner. Now, when I've been running this, it's been making quite a lot of back pressure, and that's been forcing the engine temperatures really high, which is why I've opened out the nozzle at the back, which is now rather monstrous. But basically, adding more fuel also increases the mass flow through the afterburner and the back pressure on the engine. So I want to add the least amount of fuel I can to not affect the engine in a bad way. But obviously I want the gas coming out of the afterburner as absolutely hot as possible. Because that expansion is what's going to give me a load of thrust. So I've added this nice stainless heat shield, which has got about 1/2 inch gap of airflow, just to give a little bit of cooling, but hopefully mean that I can run a leaner afterburner mix and still make loads of temperature and power. Now I don't know if it's going to melt yet because I haven't tested it, but that is the sort of last modification. Now I'm sure I've forgotten to mention a whole load of other stuff that I've been doing to it, but it doesn't matter. Basically, the next thing that's got to happen to this car is to take it for a run and see how fast it's going to go without bodywork. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'm going to give it some welly, taking it to a runway, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.